Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Okay, let's do it. So this is the NBA exit interview for the San Antonio Spurs. They finished 34 and 38 on the season. I didn't write down. I think they were like 13th in the West or 12th, one or the other. And they got the second pick in this year's draft. Right now they have mocked, I think, Darren Harper. Let's first talk about their season grade. What did you give them for a grade?
You're going to get bumped up because they ended up with the 2 pick. My initial grade was going to be like a C minus. Again, for me, C is like average.
Mm-hmm.
Wemby was better. He showed improvement. And I know Castle won Rookie of the Year, but it was kind of like when Malcolm Brogdon won Rookie of the Year. Like, yeah, but
I was thinking,
it wasn't. I mean,
Michael, was it Michael
Michael Carter
Gill?
Williams.
Yeah, Michael Carter Williams. That's what I thought of right away.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
go
it's
ahead,
one of
sir.
those like, cool, you can sell Rookie of the Year, but there wasn't much to it. And the team was kind of, I'll call it stagnant. Like the rest of the guys were fine outside of Wemby. Wemby got hurt again. I'll give him a C plus because they got the 2 pick, which gives him some other options. But the pick is what's really kind of the pick, and seeing a little more from Wemby is what's carrying it because the rest of it was on my end a little disappointing.
Yeah, I had them finishing better. And by the way, I should correct myself. I said 34 and 38. I meant 34 and 48. I don't know why I said 38, but whatever. Uh, I'm with you. So I gave them a C plus as well because I had more hope in them this year. I think I had them finishing higher than you and fighting for a play in. They didn't get quite there. Part of that is because, like you mentioned, the Victor injury and then Darren Fox got injured, but like he only played 17 games with the Spurs. So, but he eventually got injured when, they maybe decided it was time to shut it down and just see how high their pick could get. But I think when they got the second round pick, I had to bump it up as well. So I went with B minus as far as the final because now they're going to get another good young player. I thought the Fox trade was really interesting in the middle of the season. I kind of liked it, to get like a true point guard there to work with Wembanyama. We didn't get to see a lot of it. Is the problem. We didn't get to see a lot of that combo, so they didn't have a lot of time to grow. And I think you nailed, even though it's a light year as far as rookies go, it was them having Castle. I think is good for them. I think that's a good young piece they can build around, along with Wembanyama. And now they got an interesting decision as they move forward with Fox or without him. So it's going to be kind of interesting seeing what the Spurs do.
Yep, they're in that position of where are like you hate to go in too soon. You hate to do Pelicans Anthony Davis route, but Wemby has shown enough, and I think he has the makeup of a guy that's not going to be like, hey, it's cool that we sucked for all 4 years of my rookie deal. Let's sign up for 5 more. So they're trending in that line of we got to make improvement, and we have young pieces, but not a lot of them can shoot.
Right, exactly, yeah. Okay, anything else on their season, or do you want to move on to their off season?
Just um, coaching to see Pop kind of go out the way he did. Sad to see.
Yes.
It seems like they had a handpicked guy and they really didn't shop around. So we'll see how that goes. They liked him internally, but that throws another little. I know he's going to stay on board, so he's around the team, so he carries that cachet. But to see it kind of go out like that, and you see him at the press conference, you can see the stroke took effect on him. So that sucks, but at least he's still around, and we'll see. They seem to like the guy they hired for coaching, but that's kind of another pin in the air.
Yeah, no. Bummer. It was a bummer way to go. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's look at their off season then. So let's see here. We mentioned already they got the second pick overall. It is mock that Dylan Harper will go there. And it seems like he's a favorite to go there. They also have the number 14th pick. They have 8 other future first round picks coming in and 3 that are tradable. They own 2 swaps. Just trying to see. I guess this is what's his name? Fox. He not sign an extension yet with the Spurs?
No, not yet. I don't know if
Okay.
he can sign it until after the league year turns over.
Okay, so he's on his last year of his deal then coming into the season. He's on the last year of his deal. I think that's about it as far as what we're looking at for their off season. What do you think they do moving forward? What are you expecting this off season from the Spurs?
They have such like an interesting um, off season because they can go so many different ways with the assets they have and the players they have. And I think they kind of fall into we talked about sometimes. Do you make the trade? Do you not make the trade? Like they didn't give up a ton for Fox, and at the time they made it, seems great. But then Wemby has the blood clots. He's out for the year. You don't get to see it that much. And now you got the number 2 pick, which the obvious pick is a guard who also can't shoot that good. So having Fox, Castle, Harper, while most teams would be awesome. I think that's untenable as
Yeah,
far as
yeah.
for each of those guys. Um, so I think I would move Fox, but the optics are terrible to trade for a guy that wanted to come there and then move him. But as we talked about with the Rockets or the Suns, if you could move Fox in a KD deal and keep Castle and keep the number 2 pick, or you trade the number 2 pick, but to keep that, use Castle and one of the other guys to bring in KD or Fox and one of the other guys. That's the route I would go, but I find it hard to believe a team that is not in a hot market would trade for a guy, keep him for 35 games, and then ship him on out for the next best thing.
Yeah, it's crazy because they're in a situation they didn't think they would be in. And I think that's what's the we're gonna go with Harper. We got to make room for him. Let's trade Fox. I think that's the obvious route, but it like you said, is it the best optic? As far as optic goes, I think the team has to do what's best for them. Um, so we'll see what happens. But the KD trade would be pretty interesting. I think like for the Suns, that would also work out. Would get like a true point guard that can dribble, move the ball, that kind of stuff. Place him with Booker. I think that would be kind of an interesting trade. But yeah, I think they'll keep the pick. I think they'll draft Harper. So it's like if you're gonna get him, you build it around him, Castle, and Wembanyama. Got Solhan. I just think you trade Fox, maybe Vassell to the which I don't know Vassell. Then you kind of load up that guard spot a little much again, like where you have Vassell and Beal and Booker. I don't know if I like that, but you just yeah, I just think that's the way they're going to have to go. Is just hey, let's just dive in on the young thing, and then maybe also get someone like a Durant that we could place next to Wembanyama.
I would agree. I just you have to move off right if you're keeping that second pick, and maybe you can. There's been rumors the Sixers are looking to move up, so maybe you can move back and take Knipple or Trey Johnson, like a guy that can shoot. But outside of that, having and Fox is maybe is the best shooter of the 3, but just having that is just it's not going to get you there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of your if you can get KD for cheaper, he's kind of the perfect fit because I think you can age him into just a third banana, fourth banana, space the floor like a better Harrison Barnes that they had, like somebody who can just but be a deadly shooter. So they have a lot to that they can maneuver that way, but it's kind of in a weird position when you land the number 2 pick and you just had a guy win rookie of the year.
Yeah. No, I mean it's an interesting spot they're in, but I think again it's kind of like a cool Western Conference team like the Rockets or the Mavs, these teams you're looking at like, man, they got a line. Let's see how they balance it because it's kind of cool to watch what they're going to do this offseason to because obviously Wembanyama, you got to start winning with him eventually. So we'll see what happens. Okay, long shot for them.
My long shot is just I won't do it with the Fox. I'll do trading down from 2 to 3 with the Sixers and maybe bringing in McCain, which we can talk about when we get to the Sixers. Maybe McCain and 3 for the 2, and then when you have the 3, you can use it on Trey Johnson, Colin Knippel, guys like that, and you just add 2 guys who can shoot to that roster, and then having Fox and Castle. But I think that's the route you go if you don't get KD and Giannis isn't available. Just bumping back that pick to get 2 guys that can shoot in the guard position.
Yeah, that's a good. I did another Giannis one just because at the time when I did my notes, Giannis was still like presumably available, and obviously it would have to be like the number 2 pick, and then a couple other picks, and then just matching salaries, be like Sohan, Barnes, and Johnson. But the Bucks would get the number 2 pick. That would be the win for them, and then like maybe like Minnesota's pick that the Spurs have, and a couple of their picks. That's the only one I had. I was wondering too, like if Marketem would be on their radar too. Like would putting a shooter like Marketem, would they be willing to drop all the way to 5, get Marketem, something, and then maybe like you said, another shooter, or if they would, yeah, I don't know, but I feel bad because I'm always saying Giannis. I had Giannis on the brain with the Spurs because that was the big rumor at the time.
Yeah, and I think the Spurs are another perfect team for that. Like the Bucks can't get their picks back, and most likely with that, but you can give enough young players and or decent players that again the Bucks aren't winning 15 games, but you're in the East, maybe you're in the play-in option with that regard. But you have some exciting young guys. But I think at this point, as far as we know, teams have moved on from that.
Right.
And again, Spurs are another team. You did it with Fox. Maybe you don't want to go too far with KD because I don't know, again, in the West, if that puts you over the top with KD. And you have a little more runway with Victor and with Castle and with some of these young guys that you can play this out another year and a half if Giannis becomes available. Heck, even if the Mavs have to move on from AD, something like that where you can throw one of these other guys in there to try to get over the hump.
Yeah, no, agree. And that's why if they end up just picking Harper anyway and not doing a trade, let's just say, and like you just keep Fox, it's not going to be that. Like you can just kind of see how it plays out, right? And for at least half a season and see, before the trade deadline and see. It's just that I think with Fox, his contract's very tradable because there's only 1 year left. So easier to trade a $36 million guy versus a $50 million guy. That's just the way it works.
For sure. You don't want to give up, once you sign that extension going forward. Sure, you lock in teams for years, but as we've said, those numbers get big fast.
Correct. Okay, let's do anything else on the Spurs?
I think they're the exciting team that like before the draft and during the draft if they move on to.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's just do one more team. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.